This video was digitized from a photo album I received from this gentleman, and I don't know his name. I do know he was in the U.S. Merchant Marine, and this is predominantly at Hoffmann Island, New York, which was maintained by the U.S. Coast Guard and Merchant Marine in 1938, basically during World War II. And what I know about this gentleman is that he was in Michigan on the SS Peter race in 1938, and then he comes to basically the U.S. Merchant Marine Training Center here on Hoffmann Island in 1938, which was being run by the U.S. Coast Guard, and he's going through what appears to be an officer program here for the U.S. Merchant Marine. And Hoffmann Island is an artificial island in the lower New York Bay off of South Beach in Staten Island, New York. It's 4 acres, and it was actually created in 1873 with landfill, and it's named after a former New York City mayor, John Thompson Hoffmann, who was the governor from 1869 to 1871. And then starting in 1938, the island was occupied by like I said, the U.S. Coast Guard and the U.S. Merchant Marine, and they used it as a training base, and it stayed that way throughout World War II. And then after World War II, the island was abandoned, and in 1961, all the buildings that were on there were razed. And as you can see in this and in subsequent pictures, lifeboat training was really important here at Hoffmann Island, and definitely would be coming handy in the upcoming years during World War II. And that's the owner of the photo album there, and one of his shipmates, Dwyer, and in their Merchant Marine uniforms. And now we're into 1939. And this is Coast Guard cutter Colfax, WSC 133, and she was a 125-foot patrol boat with a complement of 3 officers and 17 men, and she was commissioned in 1927. And you can see, as I mentioned, lifeboat training was really important. It looks like they did a lot of it here at Hoffmann Island. And this is in January of 1939, so in New York. So it's got to be pretty cold there. And that's a Coast Guard plane flying over Hoffmann Island. And this is Coast Guard cutter Yeaton, WSC 156. And she was a 125-foot Coast Guard vessel with a crew of 3 officers and 17 men. And this is actually in the piers at Stapleton, New York, where there was numerous Coast Guard cutters moored up. And then this is Yeaton underway here in probably the harbor here in New York. And I'm sure these merchant marine men are out getting some hands-on training. Another view of Hoffmann Island. This is the Coast Guard cutter Comanche, also at Stapleton, New York, and she was a 165-foot Coast Guard vessel commissioned in 1934. And this is Coast Guard cutter Champlain, and she was a 250-foot Lake-class cutter commissioned in 1929. And this is a couple nice shots of her at Stapleton, New York. And then we're into 1940, and a couple pictures here of Hoffmann Island. And I think this last one's of maybe some seamanship on one of the Coast Guard cutters moored up there at Hoffmann Island. And these two pictures of RMS Queen Elizabeth were in this collection. They're pretty unique because she had just been fitted out in March of 1940, and they had wanted to get her out of Great Britain because of war with Germany. So they sailed her over to New York, to the Americas, which were still neutral. And so this is her entering New York City in 1940. So some of the first pictures of her after she had been launched. And I hope you enjoyed this photo collection. Like and subscribe. Try to upload military and patriotic videos to my site here every other day. And if you're interested in a good read, check out my books at www.edsemler.com.